Who's my HR director? He was an excellent HR director. So we got the memo about change bathroom, right? No, it was another.
Can I see it?
Fake memo. Right.
So we're still doing YouTube live until definitely. Oh, okay. As an excuse. Good friend of mine, Dan, he worked with me. Yeah, you said you didn't excuse that. What's it? Johnson. Okay. I figured so.
I'd like to call to order the City of North Ridgeville Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, October 12th. Everyone please rise. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Member Steve Ali has been excused. Brockman.
Here.
Swallow.
Here.
Havens.
Here.
Smolik.
Here.
Members of the administration, Chief Building Official Thurston,
Here.
Prosecutor Sean Kelleher.
Here.
City Engineer Rodriguez.
Here. Okay, has everyone had a chance to review the regular meeting minutes from September 14th, 2021? Is there any corrections? Okay, at this time, those minutes shall be filed as stated. Madam Secretary, do we have any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Okay. And Madam Secretary, do you want to read the first application?
Ryan Kozak, SLK Capital Holdings, LLC, 28400 Hilliard Boulevard, Westlake, Ohio, 44145. Owner, Ronald L. and Karen E. Ware, 7691 Avon Belden Road, North Ridgeville, Ohio, 44039. Request preliminary site plan approval for a senior citizen planned residential development consisting of 29 duplex buildings, 58 units, clubhouse, community center, including parking facilities, public utility, and roadway extensions, stormwater management, walking trails, sidewalks, and site restoration. Location 7691 Avon Belden Road in an R1 district. Permanent parcel number 07-00-022-101-065. Comments from the Chief Building Official Thurston. The applicant is proposing to build 29 duplex dwellings on the site. The applicant is not proposing to subdivide the land in any way. However unusual this may be, it is allowed for this type of development. BZA has given approval on 8/26/21 for the following conditional uses and variances. Number 1, 1250.02 B1, 2 family dwellings. Number 2, 1250.02 B7, senior citizen planned residential developments. Number 3, 1250.02 B7A3H, minimum unit sizes requires 1,000 square foot living space. Applicant to provide 750 square foot. Number 4, 1250.02 B7A3I, parking requirement is 2 enclosed spaces, applicant providing 1 enclosed space. All else appears code compliant.
Okay, I see we have some representatives here for this application. Please state your name and address for the record and tell us a little bit about your project.
Brian Kozak, 28400 Hilliard Boulevard, Westlake, Ohio, 44145.
Darrell Bell, Graham Hall Engineering, 801 Moore Road, Avon, Ohio.
Fast forward to maybe the next one more. That one, I think, is best one for viewing. So again, thanks for having us in today to talk a little bit more about the project called Ridgeville Farms. So the name really speaks to a couple things. First, the original agriculture use on the land from the Keeble family is here, and the history of the greenhouse there, as well as the agriculture history of Ridgeville Township. So kind of marrying those themes together for our project. As mentioned, this is going to be residential senior housing, so this will be a 55 and over project. We'll likely have somewhere between 20 and 30 duplexes. I know that site plan right now contemplates 58. We're not going to be going over 60 per the zoning meeting that we went through. These are all going to be single-story duplexes, 1 and 2 bedrooms. Many of them are going to be have accessibility features for seniors that might be in wheelchairs or needing a little bit more space. A lot of unique features to the property and to the development as a whole. We believe it's going to be really the first of its kind in Ohio that is a seniors housing development with a big emphasis on fresh food, agriculture, and wellness. As you can see, the way that the site is set up, even per the code, we could have had a much more dense site up to 80 plus units. We've decided to keep the density very low so that the green space, there can be plenty of green space available to the residents there, providing walking trails. We're going to have a full clubhouse in there as well too that can have seating for 20 to 30 for events. We're going to be doing wellness events, nutrition classes, cooking classes for our residents. And then on site too, we're going to be doing active agriculture. So you'll notice in that site as well too, even right in the middle of the project and then a little bit further south towards the freeway, we have several fields that we're going to be doing growing in. And then devoting the entire eastern portion of the project to green space, walking trails. Potentially, we might even look at some sort of connection to the park so that citizens in North Ridgeville might even be able to enjoy an extension of walking trails, something we'll evaluate in the future. So as shown in there, we're planning on a city street, so we'll be adding sidewalks, adding city services to there as well too. And generally we look forward to collaboration with the city, with the new senior center director too, that we can pair up our programming and possibly offer many of the benefits that we have here just to other seniors potentially in the city as well too. We have a partnership going with a nonprofit, Cleveland-based nonprofit called Food Conscious. That group's been around for 10 years, is sponsored by the Cleveland Clinic, City of Cleveland and others to do programming on site. And also offer, fresh food classes and cooking and all those types of things. So should be a nice project. I've also brought with me our engineer, Bramhall. Aaron is here from Bramhall. We have RDL as our architects. So both very experienced firms in working on these types of projects. So Aaron can tell you a little bit more about it from the engineering side.
So just kind of walking through some of the due diligence that was done on the project. There was a wetland investigation performed on the site, and there is on the eastern end, just north of the turnpike, we do have a significant wetland there that will remain undisturbed. Other due diligence, there was a traffic study done, trip generation report. This project with the 58 units and a clubhouse does generate some traffic, but not to the level of a full, requiring a full traffic study. Improvements are not, additional improvements because of this development are not required. We did look at the site distance of the driveway, both horizontal and vertical alignments of the driveway at State Route 83. So we've looked at that, and that design has been considered as well. There's about 2,400 feet of roadway that would be installed here, to city standard, 26 feet wide. Public water would be extended and looped throughout the development. Sanitary sewer would come from State Route 83 to serve the development. Right now, we've got a couple stormwater management basins shown on the plan, so there'd be a significant amount of stormwater management on site to handle the ultimate development, which is what you see here. A total of 58 units and the road right away being installed. That's kind of the bird's eye view of our due diligence.
Hey, I guess one quick question to start it off. It's probably one of the ones that a lot of the residents are interested in. The access to this subdivision, I guess it's an existing easement. You want to go over exactly how that's going to work and how you're proposing to turn that into right of way?
So there was a title search done on the property. Well over 300 pages. We did find an easement for the existing driveway that's out there. And that driveway obviously would need to be widened. It's about, on average, it's about 12 feet wide right now and would need to be widened to 26 feet in width. As you get closer to State Route 83, it's about 20 feet wide. And that easement would need to turn into a public right of way, in which we will be working with the residents in that area to acquire that right of way.
Do we have purchase agreements with any of those residents yet?
Not yet. No.
All right, does any of the commission have any questions or comments?
Are these units gonna be for sale or rent?
These are for rent.
Yeah, to the chair, issue that I have, because I'm dealing with it right now with another subdivision. Obviously, your long turnpike, are you doing anything for sound barriers?
Yes, so we're planning several items, as shown in our preliminary landscape plan there, trees, and we'll be doing some mounding as well too. And, have a couple fields in the way as well, so we'll be doing that, and, we'll be doing a sound study on that as well too next year.
Because I can guarantee if you don't, city will be hearing from those residents asking for a sound barrier wall.
Sure.
I see it.
No,
And we won't.
it's absolutely in our plans right now, as shown.
Back to that easement. I guess there's 4 parcels that are involved, is that correct? Is that how many you would have to purchase land from?
There would be 2, I believe, that we'd have to purchase from. One of the existing property owners is going to be selling the property to Ryan in the development. So I believe there's.
Yeah, I believe that's right, so 4, correct.
So the whole entire project hinges on acquiring that right of way, because there's no other alternate route to get in this parcel, is there?
Not at this time, obviously, if, contemplated, there's a couple ways that could get in there if other adjacent properties were acquired, but this is the plan that we've shown right now.
And then I'm just curious, besides that entryway, the rest of the road through the subdivision is all city right of way then. So that's gonna be a dedicated street.
That's correct.
Was there thought of maybe just keeping it, well, I guess what was the reason for going dedicated as opposed to private?
Seemed like, in our conversations with the city that it would be a good option, and we have the room to do it and have services provided not only to the residents, city services provided not only to the residents of the development, but also to the residents of the street as well too. I could bring sidewalks and plowing and things like that to people who live there.
Okay. Is there any questions or comments from the administration? Okay, at this time, I'm gonna open it up to the general public. What will happen is, you'll go up to the podium, just state your name and address, and you're free to speak. You can ask questions or comments. This is your time to discuss or have any statements in regards to the project. So if anybody want to go up, please go, certainly.
Thank you. Do you mind if I use a laser pointer?
No, go ahead, just state your name and address for the
Thank you
record.
very much. My name is Zane Harvin. I'm 7625 Avon Belden Road. Okay. I recently purchased this property, 7625 Avon Belden Road. It stretches from the center median right round to the back. Geraldine Wilson used to be the owner. I'm now the new owner of the property. I share the exact same concern regarding easements. As you can see, this was a shared access driveway. It wasn't a public street. The easements I recently purchased, there were 3 easements. The one easement was for Ohio Electrical, to run electrical, and the other 2 easements were for Ohio Turnpike. I didn't find, or my selling people didn't find any easements with regard to increasing the size of this little street. Now, I recognize that there's a gas line that runs along this side as well as electrical, which means that when this needs to be opened up, it needs to encroach upon my front door. Now, when I purchased the property, Avon Belden Street is up here. It's nice, quiet, and serene, and I enjoy living there. To suddenly put all of this traffic right past my front door, and I understand it's going to be around 16 foot, possibly, that needs to come to my front door, dig up my trees, dig up my property, dig up my driveway, run some sewer and stormwater, and increase paving, makes me uncomfortable. So naturally, as of now, we haven't been approached with any kind of recommendations, any consultations. We haven't seen any plans. So right now I'm uneasy, which means that I oppose. I don't know that this is anything to do with the city. It is private property, and dedicating to the city, I don't know how that's going to work either. So right as of now, I oppose this easement. Coming in on the meeting on August 26th, it was pretty clear at that time that the city was pretty eager, or that council was pretty eager to build this development. So I won't harp on too much about the development. It all sounds very nice. But my main concern is the increased flow of traffic and suddenly coming up in front of my front door, which I don't think that's a good idea. All the other access rights, I have to assume that Mr. Thomas Tebow, who owns this portion, if they're talking about someone selling, I have to assume that Mr. Tebow sold. Is that correct, Thomas? Don't know. Okay. Could Mr. Tebow sell it? Sure. Could they go that way? Sure. Could they gain access? Could they come directly up? Sure. It's going to mean building an up ramp. That would save me and my neighbor, Mr. Galvez. The 2 of us will be the most impacted by this development in terms of traffic, volume flow, ambulances, staff, visitors, constantly coming past our front doors. It just makes us uneasy.
So I guess you had one quick question in regards to dedication of right of way.
Yeah.
Okay. I was, the city engineer want to maybe go like a quick brief explanation of exactly what city right of way is and what that would entail.
Well, I believe the development at this time, that land, whether there's development there or not, has access rights by some easement that was granted some odd years ago. So, you know, in essence, if they made the improvements and made them up to the city standard, you know, the city could accept that as right away. But, you know, it's a process, so.
Right, but the land would have to be purchased and then it would have to be given to the city.
Correct. The land would have to be purchased. There would have to be purchase agreements between all the different property owners. And those splits would have to be done in accordance with, you know, state laws. And then at that point in time, those easements or purchases could be handed over to the city in a, for right-of-way purposes.
Yeah, so essentially it would have to be a new easement, in which case I would have to be involved. I have no idea how this is going to.
I want to make sure you understand, it's not an easement anymore. It will be a city street.
I see, correct.
So,
Yes,
well, it will be city right away, it'll be city property, it won't be your property.
yeah, so it'll become a street now.
Right,
So I'll own backside of the street and this side of the street? Because that's still my property, or does that fall away?
It depends on whatever the
Yeah.
sales agreement.
Yeah, we have absolutely no information, we have no volume, we have no plan, nobody's spoken to us, nobody said to us, look, it's not going to impact you negatively, it's going to be distance away from your door. Nobody's gone to my neighbor, Mr. Galvez, said, don't worry about it, your children can still ride their bicycles up and down the street. I've looked at the traffic module, it's all based on theory, some formulation, that's all very nice and well until you actually live on that street. And when the theory fails, then I need to live with it. So right now, I'm comfortable, opposed.
Okay, thank you for your
Thank
comment.
you.
Does the developer want to step in and maybe comment on some of those questions or comments?
As far as like the driveway goes, again, it's about 12 feet wide, and it would have to be widened to 26 feet wide, so.
Do you mind stepping up a little bit closer to the podium? Thank you.
So the driveway is about 12 feet wide, it would have to be widened to 26 feet, so about 14 feet additional, could be 7 feet on either side. If we can cheat that closer towards the west to 83, we can do that as well. But we'll work with you on that.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or comments from the general public?
Yeah, mine will be quick. I'm Karen Buttry. I live at 7686 Avon Melvin. I'm across from where they want to build this. Our problem, the whole street, which most of them couldn't come today, is being able to get out of our street onto 83. And then you're bringing all that traffic from over there. We'll never get out. In the wintertime, it's horrible because we always have to call the city to come and plow us out. Because we're low. Coming up that hill, we slide back down. If there's traffic coming, we will never get out of there. That's a big thing. And we've lived there 28 years. It isn't getting any better with the traffic. And you said you didn't need to do this traffic check or whatever. I beg to differ. After 28 years of trying to get up that hill and on past the traffic on 83, and you got to get to work, you're jamming it on the pedal just to get out, and then you take a chance you're going to get hit. So I'm opposed to it. My whole street is.
One question for the engineer of record. With my understanding, the grade on this side isn't as bad as the other side, right? And this is more level terrain.
The road that's out there right now,
It goes over the overpass, right?
it does. The existing road would be brought up to improve the site distance. That's part of the design.
Correct. Okay, thank you. I know there was some other questions and comments from the general public. I think, sorry, you.
Hey, what do you mean?
I was talking to the first person. Yeah, yep, go ahead.
Okay.
Then you can be
I don't
next.
have any idea where this is at.
All right, could we please wait?
375.
Could we please go to the podium? I'm gonna need you to state your name and address for the record.
My name is Guy Apple. I live at 65615 Fitz Boulevard.
Okay,
Okay, now, they sent this paper to me from the city of North Ridgeville, and it says that this is supposed to be at 37501 Center Ridge Road. I have no idea where this is.
this is basically right on the other side of South Central Park.
Right.
The
The notice that you
Do you have a
have,
map up there where I can see exactly where this is?
Okay, you're in regards to the second application, which is Jiffy Loop. This is the first application. This is basically right near South Central Park off of Route
You see,
83.
I don't know where all these
I know.
roads are or anything that they're
Like-
talking about, Avon Building Road.
Right, Route 83.
And, you know, like, I don't live by Avon Building Road.
Correct. We'll tell you when you're up, the second application will be you.
Okay, well, what I do want to know is they have here,
Sir,
storm water
Sir.
management.
all right, sir, I will, once we're on to that, I'll let you know when it's time for you to speak on that, okay? There's two projects tonight. This is the first one, the second one involves you. Okay. Blue shirt.
Isaac Galvez, 7667 Avon Baldwin Road. So a couple points that have already been mentioned, but I'm just gonna restate them because they're obviously of interest. Last month, I stated I didn't think this was a good idea to even have the senior development at this location. It's exceedingly loud. I know the fellows already said they're gonna do a sound study. I can run impact at tools late at night, and my neighbors won't complain or hear a thing because the highway is that loud. And I'm on the property, right? On the property right here. And so especially at nighttime, that sound gets even worse. The second issue that I had was traffic. Being a former law enforcement, I have personally dealt with traffic accidents, and I was also AP qualified at the time, so I've also provided patient care. One of the recurring things I've always seen is bad road design. You know, in my opinion, that's actually more of an issue than behavior issues. So when I saw the traffic study that they provided, I dug into a little bit more of the details. It's a study that is comparing traffic models of a senior residential models that are similar in kind, but it doesn't take into consideration at all of 83 and the current traffic conditions that exist on that road. So if that study incorporated that, then we would have the data to know, is that road already at capacity? And to share some of their concerns as well. I know it personally takes me 3 to 5 minutes to get out on that road on a sunny day and with no traffic. And I'm not talking about peak time. On peak hours, I'm waiting 5 minutes at least. It is a blind spot. Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's a bridge. So those cars are coming down well above 35 miles an hour. They're trucking about 55. I mean, you see the North Ridgeville folks, the North Ridgeville police all the time. They're parked in South Central and trying to give them speeding tickets. So it's a big concern. So I have to belabor on that point a little bit because we are dealing with a senior development that is dealing with folks that are going to be, you know, they're not going to be responsive to that traffic. The number one issue for me is I will not agree to sell any of our land for it to become city property. That's gonna be a contention point for me. I can go down a list. Actually, I'll try to keep this brief. So right now, just to give an example, the road that is going down this property, and right now it goes all the way down to Tebow's. It is the responsibility of each of these neighbors to take care of that road. And for the most part, the Tebow's have been taking care of this road because they had a business. We have paid $3,000 of our own money to pave this corner, to fill potholes, just to help maintain this road. So it's not a road that we want to give up. We enjoy the property, and it's not something that we're going to enter into a purchase agreement with. Give me a few moments here. Just want to make sure I capture all the points that have not already been added. I'll touch on Zane's idea. I think it would be a really good idea if you're going to move forward. If Tom Tebow was willing to sell his property to the development, and then you're going to have the access that you need, and you're not going to have to fight me or Zane on getting property rights. It's not going to be an issue. But it's up to Tom and the developer. It's not between me. The other issue is, even if they, actually, I didn't mention that. I think that covers all the points I have for now. If I have anything else, I'll bring it up. Thank you.
I know, touched on one of your points, the site distance as cars approach, and I believe the developer did say they ran a study on it and their site distance is there, so I don't know if the engineer wants to talk a little bit more about that.
We did look at the site distance out there, got some elevations out there. We compare everything to the Ohio Department of Transportation's land development manuals. So that's kind of like the standard that all engineers, when they're doing roadway design, look at, in addition to what's required for the city of North Ridgeville.
Oh, okay, and so my point was, if I may, you understand up there?
Yeah, I can't have a back and forth.
Sure.
You can,
I was just gonna say one more thing, on the traffic study that was done.
Sure.
Same premise, there's a standard of care that's done. TMS engineers, they're a professional traffic management company, and they perform the study. So that you do look at what the use is proposed and the amount of traffic that's gonna be developed. That's what gets analyzed.
before I have you come back up, I want to see if anybody else in the audience wants to
Sure.
have a first. Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak on this matter? Okay, all right, so you can go back up for your second.
So, the traffic study is based off the Institute of Traffic Engineering. It's, the data that was provided is only providing traffic that's coming out of the subdevelopment. It's not including the data of how much traffic is already on that road, which in my mind is a very crucial point. I would like to know, if you're gonna include a traffic study, you need to measure how much traffic is on 83, so you know that the people that are in the development can get out safely. Otherwise, without that major piece, you're only doing half the work. So that was my main point with bringing up the traffic study.
At this time, I'm going to close the public comments. Does any other commission members have any questions or comments? Does the administration, whoops,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. I did hear something that kind of disturbed me. One gentleman that got up and said the road was going to be 16 feet from his front door. Yeah, I would assume that that doesn't meet city codes for something like that. Am I wrong?
What I said was that the road would have to extend where it is now 16 feet toward the front door. I haven't measured the actual distance, but it would come 16 foot towards. So it's chopping 16 foot of my property, my trees, my lawn, and bringing traffic that much closer to my front door.
Okay.
but I think there was also discussion that the developer would look at trying to shift it more west. So that way there wouldn't be much of, like, it wouldn't impact that setback as much. Sir, we already had.
The problem with west is power lines and gas.
How does the developer want to talk a little bit more about that, that shift, what we were saying?
Just to kind of respond to you on the existing utilities, those would be incorporated. Those existing utilities, the electric that's up on 83 is already in easement or right away. So we would be butting up to that as close as we can, and shifting that further west as much as we can. So the road should get no closer to your property. 7 feet would be should be the maximum.
Thank you for that. Is there any other questions or comments from the commission members?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
You mentioned sidewalks within the development itself. On the access road, will there also be sidewalk installed?
Yes. Is there any final comments from the administration? Okay, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, before we do that, I would like to put an amendment in there to make sure that it does happen. That, a sound barrier of some sort. I'm not sure about sound barrier also be part of this project. I can guarantee these folks are going to look at, they're going to start demanding a barrier of some sort.
Okay, do we need discussion on this? I guess my only Are you talking full design for one, or are you talking a study? Like, you would want one
Actually, I
installed?
just want I want something physically there, and trees don't count. Trees aren't a good somewhere. Because I have that problem in one of my neighborhoods. Residents are clamoring for a sound barrier. So I'm big about it. Upset. The folks who move in there won't realize until they're there. Turnpike is noisy.
Since this is open for discussion, does the developer want to chime in on that comment?
Sure. Totally understood, something that we're thinking about, again, as the landscape design shows. We'll have trees, we're planning on mounding as well too.
I know where you can get dirt real cheap. Talk to the mayor.
All right.
Certainly thinking about
So at this time, I'll entertain a motion with that amendment as stated. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Brotman.
Aye.
Swallow. Yes. Havens.
Aye.
Smollett.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna have something for you here to pick up. Just a reminder to the general public, Planning Commission is a recommending body. So this is a recommendation that goes to City Council, and then City Council is the one who actually makes the final determination. So just a little bit about the legislation, how it works in the city. Okay, Madam Secretary, second application.
Frank. 7 Solutions, 3025 Highland Parkway, 515. Owner Weedy Realty Company, 9 Parkway, Suite 350, Ohio 44145. Request construction of a retail auto quick oil change on an existing parcel consisting of 1 3,064 square foot building, location 34385 Center Ridge Road in a B3 district. Permanent parcel number 07-00-112-112-001. Chief building official persons.
Excuse me, gentlemen, we're trying to read this application. You'll have time to speak. Sorry for that.
Chief building official persons recommendations. Number 1268.04 B1. B3 zoning requires 50-foot front yard. 1294.01 G8. Corner lots required to have front yard on both streets. Applicant requesting 37-foot front yard on Fitz Boulevard, requiring a 13-foot variance. Number 2, 1268.04 B3. B3 zoning requires 25-foot side yard when abutting a residential district. Applicant proposing a 0-foot side yard requiring a 25-foot variance. All else appears code compliant. Assistant Fire Chief recommendations. Please make sure ensure you are compliant to the Ohio Fire Code Rule 23, motor fuel dispensing facilities and repair garages with regards to flammable and combustible liquids. 2311.2, storage and use of flammable and combustible liquids. The storage and use of flammable and combustible liquids and repair garages shall comply with the Ohio Fire Code Rule 57, flammable and combustible liquids. 2311.2.2, waste oil, motor oil, and other class 111B liquids. These types of liquids shall be stored in tanks or containers approved in accordance with Rule 57 of the Ohio Fire Code, which are allowed to be stored and dispensed from inside repair garages. 2311.2.2.1, tank location. Tanks storing class 111B liquids in repair garages are allowed to be located at low or above grade, provided that adequate drainage or containment is provided. In short, please make sure you are submitting how you will be handling flammable and combustible liquids. End of comments.
Okay. Do we have, is the applicant here today to discuss the project? Okay, go ahead and please state your name and address for the record and tell us a little bit about your project.
My name is Frank Malowski, Senior Project Manager for 7 Multi-Site Solutions. Address is 3025 Highland Parkway, Suite 850, Downers Grove, Illinois 60515. Thanks again for having the opportunity to have us present here for this property and this project, this new Jiffy Loop project that's going to encompass this 0.82 acre development here. What we see here on this slide here. It's going to be on the roads of Center Ridge Road. Over there is that main frontage, and the additional frontage is on Pitts Boulevard, the north-south street, going that way. The cars will be entering the existing driveway. I don't know if we have that rendering we could skip to. And I had provided, well, that's a fine one, yeah. So essentially, we're gonna be reusing that existing curb cut that's kind of off at the supermarket there on the right, and relocating the drive on Pitts Boulevard down south. So we're gonna be removing the existing one and adding a new one on the west side of the property. And the way the cars approach this building is they come in from the rear and they exit out of the front, which is the way the order of operations is for that, for Jiffy Loop standard. And the site drainage is currently going from north to south, the way we have it designed. So if we go to, let's skip us up a couple slides, I'll tell you when to stop. Or you know what, go back a few, I apologize. One more. Oh, that's all we got, okay. Cool.
No, we have.
Maybe in the end. Okay. Well, essentially, what we have currently designed is gonna be, where the trash enclosure is and that line of parking and screening. There's gonna be a drain there, and there's also drains on the development that is gonna route the stormwater going from north to south. And I know we have a preliminary storm drainage, the stormwater narrative that we provided the engineer for the city, which is under review currently. So just to talk more about like the operations of Jiffy Loop. Unlike traditional service stations, automobiles are serviced while the customer waits, so there's no overnight parking on the property. The typical Jiffy Loop location has 8 to 10 parking spaces, primarily for the employees during shift changes. And our current site has 16 plus 1, so it's 16 spots plus 1 ADA stall for the property here. And I know we talked about let's see, The landscaping, so the rear is screened with some evergreen elements back there along the trash enclosure. So that landscaping strip starting from the trash enclosure going west. And then there's also that buffer that is provided for the stormwater drainage area there that's shown. And the hours of operation are typically between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. daily. The peak hours are Saturday afternoons. And there's 4 to 6 employees per shift, one being a location manager. And the typical services that a Jiffy Loop provides is oil changes, vehicle inspections, filter changes, fluids, battery replacement, brakes, exterior glass, and suspension. Jiffy Loop doesn't really do much with gasoline or anything like that. Most of the flammable liquids could be, ironically, window washing fluid is one of those elements that, per the comments, will respond to the fire chief on all their concerns when we develop the full plan going forward here. That's pretty much it. We could go to the bill. Oh, you know what? Go back one. Over here, you can see the trash enclosure. It's going to be a full CMU wall screen trash enclosure. So that is going to be screened as well. It's not going to be something that's transparent. To prove that, and this is just our typical signage we provided as part of the submission. And I believe the renderings give a good idea on what the site will look like. Yeah, and the exterior building elements, the material is EFIS on the building. And also the landscaping, you go back one slide, I apologize. We're going to be adding landscaping on all sides of the building. So the west side, you could see some trees. On the southern end, you could see some evergreens. On the north, there's going to be some elements added. And then also there's some shrubbery that surround the building on appearance. So, and then you've got your ADA stall and some striping to the west for a pathway to the walk there. But other than that, that's what we're presenting. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Does any of the commission members have any questions or comments?
I was looking at that piece of property, Trace, but I think now you're moving the entrance road off of Piss. And that's gonna be, that'll go in front of the bays, is that correct?
We're gonna be moving the road south. Right.
And then when it looks like the road curves up towards Center Ridge Road, and so the bays will be on that access road, in front of that access road?
No, the bays, the way the project is aligned is essentially the vehicles will go in one of these 4 bays.
Oh, okay, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
I was looking at the wrong one, okay.
Just so it's on the microphone, yeah, the cars going from the south to the north, and the long elevation is the entry point of the vehicles.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Is there any other questions or comments from the commission? I guess I have one question. It seems like it's being shoehorned into a small spot. Was there any talk about a 3-bay building as opposed to 4-bay? Or is that sort of more like the business model where you need a 4-bay to be profitable? Because I know you guys have a lot of 2 and 3 bays elsewhere. I mean, do you want to maybe get into that, why the 4-bay was picked?
Yeah, definitely. The 4-bay, the reason that was selected was due to just the way these sites are pretty much selected and part of the initial schematic on what can be placed on this property. And that was the best choice for the client to provide that locally and you know, providing a better customer service, less wait times, that kind of element to the property, providing better value for the community.
Right, because technically by the book, it really, I mean, you'd have to get some variances in order to make it work, because your side street is still as a front yard setback. So you're short by the 13 feet. So that's why I was saying the 1-bay would bring that in, and then it would fulfill that, you know, that code requirement.
I get you. Yeah, we are currently pursuing, I think, several variances for BZBA coming up. So we're investigating that currently with with that next meeting on October 28th, I believe.
Does the administration have any questions or comments?
No, through the chair,
Yeah.
no detailed improvement plans. I have a set of plans. I don't believe they're the final plans, but stormwater management costs will be reviewed and it's a 0.82, so we don't typically require as detailed, or excuse me, as much stormwater retention since it's under an acre. But it does look like they have a bit of pond there, and I'm assuming that it's going to do the 20% water quality that's required by the code. So that's all the comments I have.
And you also did turn in your traffic study as well. And I guess it was compared to a bank because that was what was originally there before the whole widening project. Is that where that project came
There
from?
used to be a first federal link with that.
Right.
Yes, and I could add to that. So per that report, the bank typically would have 272 trips. This new proposed use would have 160 trips. So that is 122 trips less than the bank prior. So it's a less impactful development to what was there previously.
All right,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
for the record, the city requested that they move that Pitts Boulevard entryway to the south so traffic could stack better and traffic could more easily get out of the shopping center on Pitts Boulevard. Currently, traffic goes up there and they block that driveway and make it difficult to get in and out of there. So they did that at the city's request. They also need a side yard variance because there's an existing property line there that they're right up against. And the zoning board could grant that to them. They could combine all the property as one, but they're gonna have to figure out if they have enough distance between the buildings, they may have to fire rate that exterior wall, that side of that building.
Yeah, because I think it's only 25 feet between two commercial buildings. Right, that's where that third bay, I don't know, it's for that, I keep on going back to that. So just to make sure I understand, so you're saying that outer loop is not necessary for Jiffy Loop, but that's another way to get in and out of the whole entire plaza.
Yeah, I think there's benefits to both developments to have that circulation lane in that area.
And I guess does Jiffy Loop realize that that's what it's going to be? And it's
Yeah.
not for them, okay.
Yeah, we worked with the developer, Reed Realty for the entire parcel. They have ownership of all those parcels. So, that's the plan of attack that we came up with when it comes to building a potential new Jiffy Loop in this location, investigating the site and the 0.282 acres and trying to fit that on this parcel and maintaining like some type of safe circulation around the building too. So there's no, blind corners or bad design intents here when it comes to this new building.
Okay. All right, now I'm gonna open it up to the general public for questions and comments. I know, sir, this is the project, okay. So now that you know where it's at, you're good, right?
Yeah, now I know where it's at. It's the whole big problem.
Yeah, that big building's Giant Eagles.
Mr. Ali told me that this stuff was gonna be behind Greenies, that retirement home place,
No.
and that's not anywhere near what he was talking about. That's why I said, I didn't even have to come down here.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you.
You guys, when you first do these things, you should give us a map on the back.
What?
And you would know exactly, you could turn it over and see the map and it was,
Or you can always call, we could always send some,
yeah,
but thank you.
thank you very much.
All right. Is there any other final question or comments?
Where the first right on the drive, you're gonna have folks cutting through there. Guarantee it.
Saying this proposed northwest drive.
On the pits. When you enter it, you have that small parking area, and I'm assuming where folks enter, I think according to what you said, that little cut through, folks are gonna use it, I guarantee it. Just so you're aware that that's what's gonna happen. And the other question I have is, does your site plan include sidewalks?
I believe at this early of a stage, I don't think we show.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
Through the chair, there are sidewalks on Pitts and there is a walking trail, and Jiffy Loop does show a crosswalk from their location over to the sidewalk on Pitts. So it is accessible.
Thank you. I guess I have one final comment. Because I sit on the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals as well. I think they need to look into the 3-bag as opposed to the 4, just take a look at it. I know that some questions or comments may come up in that meeting as well. So,
Okay.
just a little heads up. Okay, is there any other further questions or comments? Okay, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
I would move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Brockman.
Aye.
Swallow,
Yes.
Avens,
No.
Smolik,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, we have something up here for you to pick up. Oh, that's right. I noticed the key points.
License plate, so that probably helps too a little bit.
Oh, okay. No problem. Have a good day.
You too.
Everybody. At this time, is there any other new business that needs to come before the commission? Hearing none, I am adjourning this meeting. Oh, yes.
I was gonna pull it. I was like, I'm gonna whack it. Careful there.
Right, there's stairs and it's to your.
Okay, thank you so much.
See?